Hello, I'm in Golitha Falls photographing waterfalls for this landscape photography video. I did a video last week on Golitha Falls. It was quite a long one, so I got a lot of images, got a lot of footage, so I've broken it down into two parts, and this is part two. If you haven't seen part one of this video, then please click somewhere. I'll put a link, depending on the device, it'll be somewhere along here, but I'll put a link to the part one video. And if you haven't seen that, then I urge you to watch that first and then watch this video later. Wow, there are so many beautiful trees around here. I think Simon Baxter would be in his element in this place. He is definitely one of my favourite tree photographers. He won't be watching this, but if he did and he came here, he'd be in his element. There's just so many beautiful shaped trees. Lots of places with a dappled light. For example, have a look at that tree over there. Absolutely amazing. In fact, I'm going to have a go at that one. I think I'm a bit too high to get any waterfall in this one, so it might be just getting like an image of the tree, but I don't know, it is a stunning tree. I'll see if I can get the waterfall leading up to it, because that really is beautiful, and there's some lovely light hitting the mosses on that one. We'll have a go. I've been looking for a nice composition to try and get that beautiful tree in over there, but I think it's a beach, but I'm not entirely sure. It does look really stunning. It's got some beautiful colours on it. The moss is just amazing. So it's quite damp here, so there's a lot of moss on everything. So you do need a polarising filter to, especially if it's wet, to try and cut the glare off those the mosses and leaves and things like that, and especially the water, so you get some nice saturated colours. So I found this beautiful little log going down here, and the water's just meandering round, and it's leading your eye into that lovely tree. So I've taken a couple of photographs, one being in portrait, so we've got these logs right down here in the foreground looking straight at the tree in the background, but then I've also done a panorama just going right across here to try and get as much of this beautiful light in it, because there's some dappled light. There's a lovely rock over here, there's some lovely light up there, and the water just looks absolutely amazing, so it would make a really good panorama. So I've taken about 12 photographs in total, because I'm using quite a wide angle lens and I don't have a panoramic head on it. I've taken quite a few and just done very small segments as I'm moving, panning around each time. So that should stitch a bit better in post-production, because if I move too much, I'll get too much parallax in the foreground and it just won't stitch together. So that should make a really nice panorama. The only issue is, because it's really dark in here, I'm getting 10-second exposures. So 12 stitches is going to be quite a long time. So each photo's taken me ages, but I'm really enjoying this, so I think I'll stop around for a little bit longer. I found another lovely little waterfall, and there's some beautiful light in the background, and the water will be leading into that, so I think this will give like a lovely vignetting style photograph, where it's all dark all around it, and the main bit of focus is going to be quite light. So I'm going to set up and try and go from those trees over there and just stop at these trees here. I use a polarising filter as well, just to cut through the glare on this water, because it's so clear you can see all the way through it. And there's some lovely branches over the back that are arching over, and that will help to frame the image. I'll just talk through some of the filters that I use most of the time when doing landscape photography. The first one would be a neutral density 10-stop filter. And I don't use it very often, but when the light is pretty miserable and you want some movement in either some water or the clouds or something like that, then a big stopper works really well, because it gives, as it says, it's a 10-stop filter which darkens down everything, and the colour is neutral, so you don't get any casts, or you shouldn't get any casts, especially off the expensive ones. But that is really useful when it's a miserable day or I'm photographing by the coast or something like that. But I don't use them that often. The second filter that I use a little bit more is the neutral density graduated filter, and what those do is you've got a dark bit at the top, and then it's graduated into a crystal clear bit at the bottom. And again, it's neutral, so there's no colour cast. And if the sky is a lot brighter in the foreground, you can choose between 1, 2 or 3 stop filters, and you can layer them so you can get even more than that if you need to. But that will darken down the sky so you can get a balanced exposure. I use those pretty much all of the time, but if you're just starting off with landscape photography especially, they are very expensive. So if you're using digital these days, you probably don't need them. You can just take lots of different exposures and then blend them later on. But I'm used to using neutral density filters, like graduated ones, so I use those most of the time. If there's something sticking out right up into the filter, such as a church or a tree or anything like that, then that will get dark as well. So that will be the time when I'll blend exposures. But most of the time I'll just use a neutral density filter graduated to bring it down, and then that way it will give me a really quick shot so I don't have to mess around in post-production afterwards. But the number one filter that I do use pretty much all the time that you can't replicate in digital afterwards, and that is the polarizing filter. And what that does is it does something to the light rays. So if you're 90 degrees to the sun, it has its most effect. And then when you turn the polarizing filter around, what you'll see is it cuts glare. So it will cut the glare, say, off this water here, and you'll be able to see into the water a lot better. So you can see the bottom of this little river here. And if you look in the background there, it's very light, and you can see, because it's an overcast day today, it's quite white. So you're getting lots of white reflections on these leaves, and it doesn't look very nice. But because it's been raining, they're also very wet, so it gives you some strong reflections. And the polarizing filter will cut out those reflections and give you a lot more vibrant green images. So if you're after saturated colours, then really a good polarizing filter is so valuable. So what you do with those is you just turn them around, and as they rotate around, you get different levels of polarization. So what I've done, I've photographed this scene now, and I've videoed me turning the filter around so you can see the effect with the filter and without, so you can see what effect it has on this photograph. I've found another lovely waterfall going right down here. I think this is probably the main part of the waterfall. There's some beautiful rocks around here, and the light is just coming in from above. There's a break in the tree canopy, and it's lighting up this rock here, and the moss is on that tree. So I've got some really beautiful light here, and it's quite dark either side of it, so that will really help to focus on this waterfall and lead it out into the distance. And also in the distance there's some beautiful light coming through the canopy, lighting up the leaves at the bottom. So I think this will make a really nice photograph as well. If you like waterfalls, then this is such a beautiful place to come. If you're not into photography, then you can it's a lovely walk. There's lots of people just walking the dog, but I'm really enjoying photographing this, so I'm having a great time. So I'm going to try and take in a few more photos before I start heading back up. But I don't think I'm going to make it to the bottom of the falls today, just because I'm taking such a long time. But there are so many opportunities here. You can just photograph anywhere along here and you'll get some really great photographs. Right, I think it's time for me to start heading back soon. But before I do, I'm halfway along the falls now. I've found this really beautiful composition. I've gone for a vertical because I've taken lots of landscape ones today, or panoramas. So I've gone for a portrait shot. I'm leading down this lovely valley here. We've got some nice dappled light coming through, and you've got this nice old branch, it's like a log's fallen down, and we've got the waterfall just going off down here in the foreground. So I think that should hopefully lead into the photograph, and we should get a lovely image on that one. But also behind us we've got a lovely photograph back there as well. So in this one I can get two photographs. I think looking back up the waterfall is a better composition than looking down. So I might make more of a landscape photograph of this. Get this lovely waterfall in the foreground. There's some nice white lines coming through here from the white water, and then there's some lovely light hitting the rocks and some nice dappled light in the background. So that's going to be my final photograph for today. So I really hope it's going to be a good one. That was an amazing part of the waterfall. I really think that's going to be a good photo. So it's time to go home now. We've got a 4-hour drive ahead of us. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening, so it's going to be quite a late one getting back. But I really wanted to stop here and get a lovely photograph and do a video, and I think I've done that, so I'm really happy. Even though I'm out of breath because I'm rushing back to the car now, because I just know I'm in trouble. But if you haven't been to Golitha Falls before and you like waterfalls, then this is definitely got to be on your itinerary. It's so beautiful. I am coming back in autumn. At Golitha Falls, there are some really good services. You've got toilets, there's a little cafe, and there's a free car park. So it's really good to come here and you don't have to pay. So that's the last of my photos now. I've really got to get back to the car because Lisa left about 2 hours ago to have a glass of wine. So I'm in a lot of trouble, so I best hurry up a little bit. I really do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give us a thumbs up and leave me a comment. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and click the notification bell so that you get notified the next time I upload a video. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.